Hey guys, it's Ken from OK Portugal, and today I'm taking you on a full walking tour of something pretty amazing, a real-life Fairytale village that you can actually buy right now, right here in central Portugal. This place sits on a huge chunk of land. It's about 15 hectares or roughly 40 acres, and it's tucked away in a peaceful valley on the slopes of the Gardunha mountains. The views from here are absolutely breathtaking, and you can see right across the land and down to a stunning river with loads of waterfalls. Now, across the property there are 11 houses making up the entire village. One of them is a brand new 2-story house with 5 bedrooms built to a seriously high spec. So if you're after a little bit of luxury living, you're completely sorted. The rest are traditional old stone mill houses. Now, these were originally used to grind wheat and corn into flour. They do need some restoring, but honestly they've got massive potential, and you could turn them into something pretty amazing, like holiday rentals, Airbnbs, guest cottages, you name it. In terms of location, we're right on the edge of a village called Serra da Gardunha in Fundão, central Portugal. Serra da Gardunha itself is super peaceful. There's a couple of cafes, bars, a few restaurants, and it has a popular river beach for those hot summer days. You're only about 10 minutes away from the city of Fundão, where you'll find all of your shops, amenities, transport links and things like that. The city of Covilhã is about half an hour away too, and that's great if you want even more shopping. It's also the gateway to the Serra da Gardunha mountain range, where you can go hiking, skiing, or just soak up those incredible views. Castelo Branco is the big city for the region, and it's about 40 minutes drive away. Now that is going to have pretty much everything you could possibly ever need. If you're thinking international travel, you can get to Lisbon and its airport in around 2.5 hours, and if you head north you can get to Porto in just under 3 hours, and that takes you to the city or its airport. And if you fancy a trip down south to the Algarve, Faro Airport and its beaches are about 4.5 hours away. So stick around, let's dive into this Fairytale village and see what makes it so special. Let's begin at the entrance to the property. These are the electric gates that lead on to the driveway and the parking areas. And as we go through the gates, we have the option of going right, which takes us all the way down to the bottom of the valley and past all of the other houses onto all of the different terraces, or we can go this way, which leads to the main house. And as we walk through here, just look at these incredible views that just start opening up. This is truly what makes this property special. Now, this property extends from all the way up here, all the way down to the bottom of the valley and the river, and all the way back up. So you actually own space on both sides. And these views are just epic. There's a lot of outside parking space here, but there's also a big double garage. We're going to get to that in a moment, but first of all, I want to focus on this house. Now, the house is south facing. It's got lots of glass looking out over those views and all the way down the valley. We are looking at the side rear aspect of the property. This is actually the front door here. So as you can see, there is ample space for parking cars on this side, but we also have this entire flat gravelled area here, which could also be used for parking. And just up behind the house is more parking. We're going to go there in a moment. There's some really cool toys in there. Now, the owners are selling everything. Everything's to go. Everything you see here, all the equipment, all the toys, absolutely everything apart from their clothing and their toothbrushes. You can buy this entire lifestyle. You can buy this entire place. The front door of the property has some PIR motion sensor lights that switch on at night time if they detect movement. Let's open up and look inside. As we open up these doors, we're greeted by these crazy views of the forest in the background. This is also an insulated front door, which is excellent for thermal qualities and also for sound. And looking again at these views as we stand by the front door, we've got some beautiful marble tiles giving lots of reflections. We've got lovely accent lighting up on the walls. We have really nice ceilings, dark wood ceilings. This is Douglas fir, and let's just make our way through. So before we go onto this very impressive balcony, I'm going to take you to the right here and through to the living area. And as we see, as we go around the corner here, we've got a really nice space here with a huge sofa, loads of windows on the side. This is actually a very nice sofa. It's an electric sofa that basically comes up here with footrests, super comfortable. We've got this massive television on the wall here. It's almost like having your own private cinema. We have a very large air conditioning unit here that they tell me they hardly ever have to use because this property is so well insulated. And as we look on the side here, we can see these incredible views. So you can be sitting on the sofa and looking out over this forest. You know, usually when you're this high up, you don't get much of a view if you're sitting down. But over here, because we've got these tall mountains, the Gardunha, you can still be sitting down and still see them. And these are very nice window units. They've got very thick double glazing. They've also got a UV treating on them, so they do help with all of the sunlight. and they also help to block sound. But the sound that they're blocking, I don't know if you can hear it, we can hear birds tweeting, we can hear the waterfall down there, we can hear crickets. So you can also leave them open. And then let's just turn around and just show you the view out this one here. So they've really made good use of all of these views. And if we look in the distance there, we can see just the rolling mountains. Standing in this corner, we're looking back, we've got some more accent lights on the wall. We've got loads of plug sockets absolutely everywhere, all over the property, loads of light switches. So it's very easy to plug things in and also to control the lights from pretty much anywhere you are. The televisions are also hooked up with internet, power and HDMI, so you can plug directly into them very easily through the cabinets here, plug in your Xbox, your PlayStation. We've got a 6-seater dining room table over here with some hanging lights just above it that are really tasteful and modern. And let's work our way through to the actual kitchen itself. Look how amazing this space is. Now, throughout the property, we're going to notice that there's lots of this. This is Angolan granite. It's very thick slabs of Angolan granite. They make up the kitchen counters. They also make up the areas around the windows, the windowsills, and the door frames. And it goes throughout the entire property. And over here we have a lovely sink with some incredible views. So while you're washing your dishes, you're just looking out over this insane landscape. Another thing I want to point out is that all of the windows and all of the sliding doors have got these little nets, these fly nets. And that can get quite handy sometimes in the summertime, you know, when there's a few flies or mosquitoes. A really nice big large sink here. To the left we've got a really nice Bosch dishwasher unit here. It's fully stainless steel. This is one of the high-end ones. And throughout we've got lots of plugs and sockets all over the walls. Really, really nice. Look at the extractor fan just above the cooker, which again is all Bosch induction. And then we've got these very deep soft close cabinets for glasses, for pots and pans and things like that. We also have some interesting storage options here where you can easily get to different things. And just looking back from where we were standing, it's a really nice view. You've got this kitchen island area where you can basically put chairs, like little bar stools and things, and you can sit here. So someone can be cooking and you can sit around here and eat. You've got a very convenient second sink over here, has like a pull-out shower head, really, really handy. And then again, we've got lots of storage. Look over here, we've got like spice racks for all of your oils and things like that and spices. We have, I believe, a duplication on this side over here. Again, loads more spices. The owner of this property really loves cooking, and so they really designed this kitchen to be as easy to use as possible. When you're standing here at the induction hob, you've got everything at your fingertips. You've got access to all of your big pots. You've got access to cutlery and utensils and things like that to help you cook. And then moving along from the hob, we have a Bosch microwave. I think this is a convection microwave. And over here we have another Bosch oven. And through this side we have a pantry. And this is quite an amazing space. Look, really well lit, very well organized, lots and lots and lots of storage and cabinetry, lots of storage up here. Again, Angolan granite everywhere. And as you can see, the owner's really into his spices. These are all of his oriental spices. I think these are all of his American spices. And just tons and tons of storage everywhere. So yeah, great to have a pantry space like this. And very, very tall ceilings, so you could probably still put more shelves and stuff up on the top. So just to the right of the pantry, we have a big American style fridge freezer. This one's quite fancy. It's got an ice and water system, and you can basically get fresh cold water out of here and also ice. It also looks like it does crushed ice as well, so that's pretty cool. Lots and lots of space to store all of your food. Let's go around the corner. We can see we've got some more of these accent lights up on the walls. Lots of light switches again. I think this is the time that we need to go to this patio area, because this is absolutely magnificent. Here's one of the big fly screens I was talking about. So you can have these big doors open and you don't have to worry about any little bugs and things coming in. Let's open that up. and have a look. Wow. On the sides here we've got more accent lighting up on the walls. We've got plug sockets down on the bottom here, and this is all duplicated when we look across on this side here. So we have exactly the same on this side. More sockets. We have a gas barbecue here, and obviously everything's included again, as I said. This also has some gas hookups on the back here. He's got water on the back here, and he also has gas. And so basically you can run a gas bottle or the gas pipe to a bottle that's all the way downstairs and outside, so that you don't have gas bottles down here. And that's quite a nice extra added feature. And then let's talk about the walls and the insulation. So this stuff over here, it's an insulation system called Capoto. And essentially what you have is 8 centimeters of mineral wool insulation on the outside, and then obviously covered by this render. And then behind, on the inside, you've got a further 9 centimeters. So tons and tons of insulation. This house has been designed as a passive solar house. If we look here, if we look at the angle of the sun, we're in spring, and we can see just how much sun comes in here. In the height of the summer, there's hardly any sun coming into the building. And in winter, when the sun's at its lowest point, we've got lots of sunlight that actually comes through and heats up the floor, going all the way into the property. So the system basically helps to keep the house cool in summer and warmer in winter, so you hardly ever have to use the air conditioning units. This balcony's been finished off with a beautiful safety rail with some lovely wood and nice finishes. We also have this Angolan granite again, which is a theme running right through the property. And on the ceiling we have this enormous fan. Look at the size of these blades. Now this can be set to either suck air upwards or blow air downwards, and I've heard that in the summer, if you open up the sliding doors and you blow the air downwards, it actually creates a nice draft right through the property on very still days. This is a fantastic area for you to have an outdoor kitchen where you're in touch with nature, but you're also right close to the house and taking advantage of these absolutely stunning views. So let's carry on with the house tour of the inside. If we go across to this room over here, this is the upstairs bathroom for the main living area of the house. Really nice door handles and a very well appointed bathroom. We can see we've got nice modern mirror and lighting, lots and lots of storage, really nice toilet with a bidet gun on this side, and then a walk-in shower, floor level walk-in shower, really good looking. And if we look up on this side, we can actually see the oversized, overspec'd concrete beams that hold up the roof. These have been completely over-engineered, so the roof is incredibly strong, but I think they give a lovely industrial look through the property. Standing in the doorway of the bathroom, we're looking back over the living area, kitchen, diner, looking back over these incredible views. And on this side over here, we can see the master bedroom. Let's go through there next. Nice wide doorways. All of the doors are solid wood, really nice hardware on them. Now these bedrooms obviously take full use of these tall ceilings up in the front of the building, and then obviously full use of these huge windows looking out over the forest. And let me just spin you around this side. We can see we've got a very large double bed. This is like a king size bed. We've got some nice accent lighting up on the walls. We've got switches on both sides of the beds, and these allow you to control all of the lights in the bedroom, as well as from the entrance to the bedroom on this side. We also have lots of plug sockets down by the beds. We have on this side plug sockets, but we also have a way of controlling the television. So this TV has internet, it's got HDMI, it's got all of the different aerial sockets and things like that that are either accessible down here for where you have a TV cabinet and you can plug your PlayStation or your laptop, but you can also access that HDMI cable and the television from right next to the bed, just on this side over here. So if you're in bed and you want to plug your laptop into HDMI and set on the TV, you can do that. And of course, while we're up here, let's just have a look through these windows. They are just immense. Beautiful, beautiful windows and a stunning view. Something else worth pointing out here is that there is a thermal break between the granite inside the house and outside the house. If it was one big slab and it was freezing cold or hot outside, obviously all the heat or the cold would come through. but they've made a thermal break, so the whole house is very thermally isolated, which is going to be great for your energy bills and also for your comfort levels while living here. We've got an air conditioner up here too, and let's go through to the closet next. So a full walk-through closet, and obviously the owner's effects are in here, so I don't want to film too much, but we can see we've got very high ceilings and lots and lots and lots of storage space for all of your goods. And from here, let's go to the ensuite bathroom. And look at this. It's similar to the main bathroom that we looked at earlier. We've got lots and lots of storage, beautiful sanitary ware and hardware, lovely mirrors, lots of light, very clean and fresh, and a lovely inviting space. And both toilets again have one of these bidet washers, which are quite handy for saving space in the bathroom, whilst also allowing you to have the use of a bidet. And really tall ceilings, again with this Douglas fir, really nice. And something that I really like as well is, look, we got the toilet on this side. Let's go across to the toilet and stand over here and look at that. This is the view from the throne. Just incredible. And there's actually another trick I want to show you with these windows. So if we do that, we can open up the window as normal. And we have those fly screens that you can pull up and down. If you close the window again and you pull the handle up, they open vertically. So now you can have them open just a little crack. They're nice and secure and locked, so people can't get in, and they let some nice cool breeze through. So really, really nice windows, absolutely huge, very high spec windows. Now I can see that the owners of this property have really poured a lot of time, effort and money into making this place. You know, they haven't skimped on anything. They've used very high-end components. This isn't something that they built to sell. They actually intended on staying here and having generations of their family stay here. And unfortunately, due to personal reasons, they're having to sell. So someone is going to be getting a very, very well-built house on a beautiful property. Across from the master bedroom is bedroom number 2 in the upstairs of the house. We've got some nice accent lights on the wall again. We have this area over here which is all wired up for a little desk and an office space. And on this side of the room here we have space for a large bed. And I think the best part of it here is going to be this window. Remember the bathroom that we were just in, the master bathroom? Well, this is the exact same view, looking out over the forest and the mountain. You can be lying in bed and just looking at that in the morning, which is really stunning. From bed you also can look at the television on this side over here, and it's all been nicely wired in. And then we have a large closet space with lots and lots of storage. Again, this is the owner's personal effects, so we're not going to be focusing too long in there. I just want to show you that you have a place to keep everything nice and neat. And that concludes the tour of the upstairs of the property. And let's just have a nice look as we walk through again and we say goodbye to the beautiful views from this area here. And let's walk our way around through to the front door and out to the garage. The owner of the house is American, and he has built himself the most epic double American style garage and workshop. And like the main house, this has been over-specced and over-engineered using the highest quality components. We can see beautiful wood. We can also see the Angolan granite going around all of the door frames. This can take the weight of the tractors and the SUVs and 4x4s. So it's really tough and strong. And speaking of tractors and 4x4 vehicles, wait till you see what's inside. Have a look at this. This is all included in the property. We have a Segway Fugelman 4x4 ATV. This is what they call a side-by-side in America, or a buggy in Europe. It's got a winch on the front, really chunky tires, 4-wheel drive, so this thing can go anywhere. This is a 2023 model in excellent condition, and a really fun vehicle to drive around on this property, through the tracks and trails, up into the forest, and you can pretty much go anywhere with it. It also has this little tipper at the back, so this is a truck bed with a tipping function, so it can actually tip upwards and can open up flat on the back here for carrying lots of stuff. And it doesn't stop there. This is also included. This is a Lamborghini tractor. Lamborghini actually started making tractors before they made supercars. And you can own your very own Lamborghini. This one has a front loader over here. It also has a flail mower attachment, what they call a bush hog in the States. It's 4-wheel drive, super powerful, and it only has 280 hours on the clock, so it's hardly being used. This is going to be a fantastic piece of kit to help you cut the grasses and to help you do tasks around the farm. And while we're up here, just look at the views from up in the garage. Imagine this is your workshop. You got the doors open, you're working on a little project, you're having a little break, having a beer, and you're just looking out over this. So as I said earlier, the house is south facing, the garage is south facing. We've got these nice pitched roofs here. We also have one on the garage just above us. And this is the perfect place where you could put a lot of solar. Now the property is connected to the grid with water and electricity, but you could get a solar system and be completely off-grid for your electricity needs. The owners have also put in a 100-meter borehole, and this is the borehole right over here. All it needs to finish it off is a pump. There's already electrics and everything run to the site. This is a borehole that delivers 300 liters per minute or 5 liters per second. So it is a very, very powerful borehole. Now this, along with the solar panels, if you were to put solar panels, and along with the fact that all of the sewage on the plot is done by a septic tank, means that you have, or you could have, a fully off-grid retreat up in the mountains, in the valleys of central Portugal. And again, everything that you see here is sold with the property. The owners are literally taking just their clothes and their toothbrush, packing a bag, and giving you the keys. How is that for one of the coolest garages you've ever seen? Now let's go on to the rest of the property. So after coming down from the garages here, we go to the downstairs of the property where we have 2 further apartments. Down here is a garage where you can lock up your car. This is the entrance to get into apartment number 1 that has 2 bedrooms. And then we have another studio flat just on that side. And we can see the front of the upstairs with its balcony. And this garage is also done on a nice remote control clicker, so you can go straight in. There's access here where you can park your car, and you can also store a lot of stuff. And as we go through into this garage, we see it's a nice clean bright space. This over here is a heat pump water heater, so it's incredibly efficient. It actually has the extra added bonus of also dehumidifying the house, so it actually dries the air so you don't get lots of humidity, which can be a problem in central Portugal. And there's also plumbing and stuff here for a washing machine, electrics for tumble dryers and stuff like that. You can access the house through this door over here, but I think what we're going to do instead is use the front door. As we go around, we can see again all the Angolan granite, all of these real high-spec things being used everywhere all over the property. And this thermal glass. Let's open up and have a look at this space. Obviously it's an empty space right now, so we're going to get a little bit of an echo, but this is a great space. We've got some wood effect tiles going throughout the bottom here, and we have the kitchenette on this side over here. We've got space for a cooker, for a fridge. There's actually on this side, we've got the wiring for the television. So again, we have internet, we have the television ports, and we have the power sockets. And from here, looking back over the views, I mean, that is just, again, incredible. So all of the apartments, all the living areas have got the incredible views. Let me just shut this now so we can see the space where you can put a huge sofa or sofa set, coffee table. And over here we have the garage door. We have a space over here for a bedroom. And let's open that up now. Nice and light. This is the bedroom, the master bedroom down here, which has basically a little patio area on the outside. But before we get there, let's have a look. This would be the space of the bed. We've got the plug sockets on the wall. And if we turn it around this side, we're already all wired up here for the television. We've got some nice LED lighting up in the roof here. And let's go around this corner here and show you the door that either opens or opens vertically, like all the windows in the property do this, or it has the fly screens. And from out here you have your own little private patio space where you can put some chairs and tables, maybe even a little gazebo, and you can basically look at these amazing views. Let me just close this door and also show you that in the corner over here there is a space that you can build in a closet, or you can push a closet into there. So let's just go through to where the bathroom is on this side over here. Turn on the lights. You can see again a very well appointed bathroom. We have a step-in shower over here. Very similar hardware to the bathrooms upstairs. Also a really nice toilet, vanity unit, and a mirror. Hello, hello. And then on this space, or on this side over here, they initially designed this space to be a tiny room where you could have a partition here, and you could put either a little office space over here, or you could put like a single day bed or something like that for extra accommodation and extra space for people to stay. You can really feel the insulation working in this property, and the temperature in here is absolutely perfect. Normally when you have glass like this and sun pointing in, rooms like this would get super hot, but yeah, all of this insulation has done a fantastic job of keeping this place super comfortable. Now that was the first apartment. There is a second apartment. This one is done in a studio configuration. We have a very similar mirroring kitchen just on this side over here. We have space on this side for the television, and if we spin around to this direction, we have a place where you would probably put, you know, your sofas and things like that. You've got a little space for dining. You also have a space where you can put your bed across here, a very wide space. So you could have a huge bed here, possibly get some cabinets and things like that in there. And then we're going to have a mirror image bathroom on this side. Turn the lights on and we can see pretty much exactly the same as the other apartment. Done to a very high spec, super comfortable, nice, bright, light and clean. Here's a view looking through to the front door and the glorious forests. So it's a very impressive house with an equally impressive view. And starting on the left, we can see how the property goes all the way up onto this side of the mountain here and around and back across. We can also see the old stone mill houses, where we can see a couple of them here. There's a couple more of them just dotted down here. This is a road which the owner has made that goes all the way down and takes you to the river at the bottom, past all of the different houses. And from up here we can see there's a bunch of olive trees. We've got loads of oak trees that we're going to see as we tour around. We've got fig trees, we've got cherry trees, we've got lots of different fruit trees, and just an immense amount of land. So 40 acres, 15 hectares. We've got loads of different terraces, and I'm going to take you to a couple of those now. So this is one of the little tracks. As you can see, it's quite wide. You can get your tractors down here, you can get cars down here, you can get different vehicles down here. So we've just walked down the track here. I just want to show you on the left how this road that we're standing on links all the way up to the front gates. So you can go through the front gates and back to the house, or you can come directly down here. And just to the side, this is one of the first terraces, and we can see we've got some olive trees on here. It's like a nice lawned area. This terrace stretches across here. It actually goes back in this direction where we've got these huge oak trees, and we can see in the distance we've actually got one of the old stone mill houses. So this is an old stone house. This all belongs to the property, all in this direction here. And as I walk a little bit more across here, we can see more old olive trees, and we've got this beautiful terraced area here. We've got another lovely old stone house ready for restoration. So again, this is a huge piece of land. Obviously I want to try and get as much of it as I can into this video, so that whoever wants to buy this property feels like they've actually visited in person. And so now we're walking down. On the left hand side we have another terrace here. We can see olive trees, we have cherry trees, and just to the right here we have a better view of this old stone house. And let me just get down onto this terrace. Let me just show you another thing here quickly. The owner's basically put pipes down here. He has water, electricity and internet that is actually brought down to this level here. And what we have over here is a bit of a terrace, and then it drops down into like an amphitheater. And this is actually an area where the owner wanted to build an outdoor kitchen and entertainment area. This is why they have the water and the internet and the power and stuff like that. And they were going to basically build that up on this little terrace section here. And then if you look across, we've got these beautiful old stone walls that make up a very private little amphitheater area with some old olive trees. And then when we turn around, we just have these incredible views again going up and through the valley. So a lovely private space where you can entertain people and you can relax. I believe this is what they used to call their secret garden. And down here, this is one of the first old houses. Now this one isn't a mill house, but this is actually a house. And I believe upstairs, it has an upstairs and downstairs. They would have animals living downstairs and people actually living upstairs. So quite amazing. Now this one's not particularly accessible, but let me try and see what I can do in terms of opening it up so you can have a peek inside. We can see in here we've got the joists are all missing on the floor there, but we've got this downstairs area where the animals would stay, and then the heat from the animals would warm the people as they lived upstairs. And hopefully the camera is giving you a good look of what's going on there. And let me just try and close this again. Now something like this obviously needs full restoration before you could turn this into some kind of a little house or accommodation. But all of the 10 buildings that are on the land here, they are fully registered. They're registered as pre-1951, and where that's important is it means that you can rebuild these to within their own footprint and size without planning permission, and you can basically turn them into habitable buildings. So I imagine you've got a nice little space here. It's actually 2 floors and it's got some beautiful stonework, and this could potentially be a lovely little cabin giving you these incredible views across the valley. And it's also quite private and secluded from the main house, which is just up here. So we've got a lot of ground to cover, and yeah, we're going to go down into this valley and we're going to get to some really magical special places. So bear with me as we get on to the next place. And to orientate you a bit, there is the main house that we walked down from, and this is another one of these old houses. This one's actually a real old stone mill house, and it's got some amazing features inside, and we're going to get to that in a moment. But while we're up here, I just wanted to point out all of these old olive trees. Down here we have persimmon trees, so these are known as Sharon fruit or diospiro in Portuguese. And then we have the views looking back, so a couple more cherry trees. This is cherry country. Fundau is cherry country, so we have some in bloom, we have some that aren't blooming yet. We have this old house that we looked at. There's also another old stone ruin just back there. So there's 2 just in this little space. Now for this video, I'm not going to be accessing every single one of them because otherwise this video would be hours long. But let's have a look at the ones that we can. So we can see this one here has some incredible stonework. And imagine if you were to restore this and point it all up, put in windows, put on a proper roof, clean it up and turn this into an amazing little cottage, how awesome it would be. This is 2 floors, so double story. And let's start on the bottom here, just on the left. Now this used to be a space where they would have animals, so I believe this is a place where a donkey would stay down here at night time, and this is the trough where the donkey would feed. And we've even got some old things here. We've got like an old wheelbarrow, an old sieve. It's all the old original tools. And just look at the rock. Look at this bedrock that this house is built on. And then we can actually see the actual stones that comprise their property. And let's close this up and go into the rest of the building. So this is downstairs now. Now they do have some stuff stored in here, but it's a relatively open space. We've got quite tall ceilings, and we've got these huge beam. So absolutely huge beam. And then this takes us through to the actual millstone part of it. So we can see here, this is the actual grindstone. So it'd be one of the milling wheels, and we'll actually see that. I think it's outside and I'll show it to you. But that'll go on the top here, and then they would put the flour and stuff. And on the outside through this space here, there's actually wheels outside, and the water would basically turn these wheels and grind the flour and grind the corn and turn it into flour, I mean. And then there is an upstairs space here, and let me just pop the camera up here and give you an idea of what that looks like. And obviously it needs full restoration, but all in all it's quite a nice big space, and this could make an incredible little cottage with some seriously amazing views. And here's that millstone that I was talking about. This property still has all of the old original millstones. This is massive and really, really heavy. All right, so now let's just have a look. We've got the road, it continues down here and through and past another couple of houses. And this place just keeps on going. It's pretty amazing. So before we go down to the next house, I just wanted to show you how the actual water wheel part would work. So this is This is the side of the mill, and we were downstairs where the grind wheels were. Now, the owner was telling me that this water system can be reinstated. It's something called a lavada, and it basically brings water to the neighboring properties. The property on the side here, the neighbor has the water running, but the water has been shut off to this property, and you can just very easily lift up the grate and the water will start running again. You're going to get water running through this property past the wheels, and so it would run past the house, through these little gutters, underneath this little bridge over here, and we can see the channels here. So we've got this little aqueduct that then goes, drops off a little waterfall and heads on down to this mill house over here, heads on down to the next one, and so on. And we will get to those houses in a moment, but before we get there, I just want to show you these lovely terraces that are in the background here. So the land is terraced, it's got these beautiful stone walls. So all of these stone walls over here, really good condition, lovely terraces, all nicely manicured, and then of course some really old olive trees. And from up here we are completely secluded. There's no houses or anything like that over here. This is an ecological area. There's nowhere that people can actually build up here. So it's always going to be nice and private for you. And if I walk to the edge here, we can see how this terrace drops off into this terrace, and drops off again, drops off again. And at the very bottom here, I'm not sure if the microphone's picking it up, but we can hear the roar of the river that runs through here and goes into multiple waterfalls. And then this is a view of these mill houses just on the side here. These ones actually have their wheels. So I think we should go to these ones next and have a good look. And I'm going to start on this side because from here we can actually see what the wheels look like. And the owner was telling me something really interesting. They were saying that instead of using these wheels to power something to crush corn or whatever, you could actually use these to generate hydroelectric power. So imagine you have a little generator in here. You have the lavada open from all the way up there, you have the water running past, and you have a free electricity source on one of these big old spinning wheels. And actually this wheel is still functional and still works. Right now it obviously is wrapped up in brambles and things, but if you clean that out, it actually still works and the water can still turn it. There is a lot of potential here for some incredible houses, holiday lets, Airbnbs with incredible views. And imagine this little river running past, turning water wheels, amazing. So this is another one of the mill houses. We can see we've got a couple of millstones on the side. We have an old roof that needs replacing, but I mean, look how pretty it is. So much character. And then we come down, and again we can, these are all registered. So this is pre-1951. This can be rebuilt with much less hassle than trying to build a brand new house. And also because it's already here and it has pre-1951, it means that you actually have the ability to build a house here, which no one else would. And if we look inside this one, there's actually like old furniture and stuff. Look at this. Old original tools. Amazing. It's almost like a time capsule. There's an old sofa there. The person the owner of the house said that the person that they bought it from told him that this was his old school satchel, and it was just left here. And then we've got, I believe they used to use these almost like a refrigerator, so they would put food and stuff in there with salt. And yeah, this building has 2 bedrooms. So we've got one on the side here, obviously needs full reno. We've got another one just on the side here. We've got another one just on the side here with some kind of old implement for carrying behind a donkey or something. We've got some of the old gears that actually turn the wheels. And again here, look at this. Also some of the old gears from the wooden mechanisms. And then if we look through on this side, let me just get the camera to catch up. If we look on this side here, we can see the old grindstone just in this corner here. And here we go, we've got a much better view of the old grindstone and the funnel at the top. Just remarkable. So there is a lot of history here that you're basically buying, and instead of letting this thing just go to waste, you can actually restore and renovate this and turn it back to its former glory, or turn it into something that people can enjoy for years and years to come. Now directly across from this little cottage is an old bread oven. And I've been told that this is a bread oven that people would travel to from around in the village. They would come to this old mill house here, they would mill the flour, then they would bake bread in this very oven over here. So all the people would get together and use this for cooking bread. And that's pretty incredible here. Look at the size of this thing. What an amazing old historical bread oven. Look at that. So far, I think this is one of my favorite cottages. It's almost like a terraced house. So it obviously has the main section that we just looked at, but it also has other sections, other completely separate sections. So this could actually be divided up into a couple of different holiday lets. And then again, that just leads directly down to this incredible river that we're going to get to soon. But let's just look on the side here first. We have these persimmon trees, Diospiro, Sharon fruit. We have a whole stack of them all going along here. Again, more olive trees and big open flat terraced pastured areas. And then as we look back up here, we can see one of the first buildings that we looked at and its views. So nice, and again so private, and again with such incredible views of this valley. So let's go further down into the valley, and we're going to get to my absolute favorite part soon. And as we go down, just have a look at the stonework of this building and all the doorways that go into the bottom here, where you can renovate and turn this into other livable spaces. Let's just pop our heads in this one here and have a look at all the old tools, all the old barrels. Incredible. This one even has another room just to the back. And here's the view looking back up from the path that we just walked down. We can also see just on the side here this terrace that's made up of this big wall of stone. Someone actually built this by hand. So although we are in a valley, and although the property does go down, we have lots of big open flat areas. So and these are very useful for growing things. These are very useful for keeping animals and stuff like that. And as we carry on down the path, before we get to this building over here, I just want to spin you around and show you what this building looks like from the front. We actually have a little balcony area. So it's got a little balcony. You can see it's quite a wide building, so there's quite a lot of space. We can actually turn this into a couple of different flats. And again, with a lovely balcony, and again with lovely views. This over here is a giant apricot tree. I believe there's another one, I think just a little bit further ahead. And if we look down here, we obviously have this other building that we'll get to in a sec. But over here we have apple trees, fig trees, we've got persimmon trees, and I believe we have some more apple trees across here. And while we're on this terrace, I'm just going to walk across a little bit so we can get some more views across the land at this level. And this is pretty amazing. In front is a forest of walnut trees, and that's just on this little terrace below that. And let me just spin you back around here and show you the main house and some of the mill houses going down with the big spinning wheel, the mill wheel, the water wheel, and these amazing walls. This really is quite something. And from here we can start to get a really good view of the river that's running past just down here, and that incredible sound of the water rushing. Now, as we saw with the main house, you already have a main house living area. You already have 2 separate flats downstairs, and they're all done to very high specs, so you can start renting out stuff immediately. But obviously, once you fix these up and you've got 10 different places, you know, wow, you can host a lot of people. And I think while we're down here, it would be a shame not to just pop our heads in here and see what's going on. We have what they call an adega, a place where they would mature wine. We can see the lovely stone rock and everything here, which this would give it a lovely temperature for maturing wine and wine bottles. And let's pop our heads in this side over here. You can see some of the old oak barrels, and again some of the stone walls, and this place keeps going. So this one over here is partially collapsed, or at least the roof is collapsed in, but you still have that pre-1951 registration. You still have the footprint of the house, so it can be rebuilt to within its own footprint. And we still have some fairly decent walls. And if we look around this side here, we can see it's got a pretty substantial footprint. So you can definitely turn this into something quite awesome. Now obviously, as I said, the roof has collapsed on this side here, so it's all full of vegetation. But you know, this could be a future project for someone that wants to take on something like this and fix up a couple of these houses as they go along, you know. start with one project and then move on to the next. We can see down here, this is the little viaduct, aqueduct. So this was also a mill house. It would have had its wheel on this side. The water would have come back and around, and then it would have gone through here, and I'm guessing up onto this. This over here is an aqueduct. And from that aqueduct, we've got another wheel on another house. And we will get there in a moment. But first, I want to see what's around this corner. So this is some quite nice stone walls. It's a pity that roof's collapsed. But yeah, we have another terrace here, and I believe this one is going to take us into a walnut forest. Yeah, this is going to be pretty special. So look here, we've got cherry trees. We've got another view of the main house just up on the top here. It feels quite private here. There's a really lovely sound of the water just rushing through the valley. We've got some huge olive trees. I mean, these are maybe 6 meters high. Absolutely huge. And then, I mean, of course, we have to have a look at this. Look at the water just rushing through here. That is absolutely incredible. So we've got a really nice big river. This actually runs all year round. Even on the hottest summers, even on one of the biggest droughts that Portugal had, this was still running. And the best part is that you own the whole valley. So the river runs through the bottom of it. You have access to that river on both sides. There's amazing little spots, tons of different waterfalls, and little areas that you can turn into river beaches, little areas that you can dam up and use for swimming. The owner tells me that this particular terrace is their favorite. It's got a walnut forest. Now, half of these walnut trees are for the nuts and the other half are for wood. And it's a really special place. From here, all I can hear is bird song. I can hear the water rushing through the valley and just carving its way right through the bottom here. And this area has its own microclimate. So when you're down here in the summertime, in the heat of the summer, it's really nice and cool down here in the shade of the walnut trees and right next to the river. You know, a property like this, you've really struck gold when you have access to such a beautiful piece of water like this. This property has tons of water, and that is gold. So just to the end of this walnut forest, we have another little cascade coming in through the forest here. And then if we look down, we can just see this rushing water. And how glorious is this? This is absolutely magnificent. And let me just walk you across here and see. There's actually an incredible little cascade down here. Wow. When the owner took me down here yesterday, he pointed this out and said this almost looks like a screensaver. It is just incredible. And this is very clean and fresh water. The owner is telling me that he drinks this water straight out of the river. And I mean, you can see just how fresh this is. Oh, this really is something else. Now we're going to make our way back to the mill houses and go on to the rest of the houses of the property. And I just want to hug this river line here so I can give you some more views. Now the property extends further back in this direction and all the way up into the mountain over here on the other side. So we have this huge forested area that belongs to the property. Lots and lots of firewood. So that is a real bonus. And obviously we have all of these walnut trees here. Now I believe the ones that aren't leafing yet, or the ones that don't have leaves on yet, that's the different varieties. So we have half of them that are for eating and half of them that are for wood. We can also see they're covered in this lichen, and this is a really good indicator of air quality. Lichen can't grow in a place where there's lots of pollution, and so you only find that this growing in places where the air quality is exceptional. And if we look, we have different types. We have at least 2 different types here, if not 3. Yeah, we have 3 different types of lichen. Now the more different types you find in one location, on one plant, on one rock, it means the air quality is really, really good. Here is another one of the little cascades that runs down. There is an absolutely magnificent one that we're going to be looking at just now. That's a little bit further along, but as you can see, this river just carries on and it winds all the way through and just has loads of different waterfalls. And then from here, look, we can see back up to the main house just up on the top. And obviously once spring happens, once all the leaves come out, this is going to be very secluded and you won't be able to see up to that house anymore. But this is just going to be a lovely place to come when you're in that harsh summer heat. So we've walked back through the walnut forest. We're back at this mill house, the last one that we just looked at. And now we're going to go down to the next one. And this next to me is the old aqueduct that basically takes water from the other mill houses and drops it past the very last wheels here before then descending into the river. Now on the other side of this aqueduct we've got a little area here of pasture. It's surrounded by vines, and this is where the vineyard sort of starts and carries on repeating back up the hill. So there's an area that I didn't actually film earlier. It's the vineyard section, and I'll just show you on a map exactly where it is. This terrace over here, stepping down into another one and stepping down again, and we have lots of vines that are trellised so that they can grow much wider and bear more fruit. And again, the owner said that they produced 300 litres of wine from this little vineyard, which is very impressive. We've just come out of a really hard winter. It's been very wet, and it seemed to go on for quite a while, but now that spring started, everything's starting to green up. All of the flowers are coming out. It's obviously still very early in spring, but everything's starting to look really magnificent. And this area on the other side of the aqueduct is obviously another big flat open space. I mean, this is just perfect pasture. This is right next to the river here, so a great place for camping, for eating, for picnics and stuff like that. Just look at this wall that the aqueduct goes over with these big round sort of river stones. If we look here, the aqueduct goes all the way up there, and then I'm guessing it cascades down, it drops down with immense force and drives a big wheel. So this is the big wheel over here. Looks like this wheel isn't attached, so it's kind of off to the side, and I'm assuming that the wheel would have been sort of in line with this water flow so that it would hit the wheel and help spin it. But yeah, pretty magnificent. And let's just stand back here quickly and just take this in. So we have this big stone wall, then we have the back wall of this old Millhouse building. We have a space here that you can get between the houses and the terraces. We'll go there in a bit, but first of all, let's go down here and have a look at the front of this house, because this is what it's all about. We're at the level of the river here, and yeah, let's just show you that for a sec. We've got a little footbridge that goes over the top, and then obviously all of this forest around it that all belongs to the property. We've got an amazing waterfall that we're going to get to in a moment, but first, look at this. So this house is in much better condition than the other ones. This definitely is an old mill house over here, but we've got lots of areas here that can be renovated and turned into livable areas. And the owner made a start of putting some river pebbles and stuff like that down here. The owner was saying that they wanted to dig out an area here and actually put some white beach sand and actually make a river beach, some sort of white granite sand. And then they have a little river beach that goes just over here. In the summertime you can walk straight in, and then there's obviously the option of using some rocks to dam up areas and create deeper swimming pools. And there are actually some deeper swimming pools, but before we do that, I think we go and have a look inside this big old building here. How cool does this look? So it's double story, obviously in need of renovation, you know, a new roof, obviously all of the woodwork inside needs to be redone, new windows. There's quite a bit of work to be done, but I mean, how cool is this space? It's got its own little balcony out front here. Absolutely amazing, little old animal buildings. So cute. And then there's another one just over there, and it's right in front of this beautiful stream. And this actually goes to one of the most impressive waterfalls on the whole property. Look at the power of this, and just look how deep it is down there. This is a proper swimming pool, and this then just extends out through the property and into the distance. So here's another view of this building. Obviously we have quite a few different sections that could be turned into different flats, and then we can see the main house up on the hill, we can see the other mill houses, so they're kind of in a straight line there, apart from this one on the side over here and the other ones that we saw up at the very beginning of the video. And the main difference there is that these are the mill houses and the other ones are just regular houses without those grindstones and water wheels. Cool, so let's go and explore around inside this one. I was briefly taken around by the owner yesterday, so I've kind of just had a sort of peek into all of these places, but I'm kind of exploring it all over again now. So this is another old bread oven, and again they will grind flour and then they would use this to cook different breads and pastries, probably roasts and things like that. On the side here we have a little bit of a storage room, and then really large, big granite stones. On the top here, I'm making out like a date, and I think I've got a 1 and a 9, and then I'm not sure what the rest is. That looks like it could be a 6. But yeah, this is obviously a very, very, very old building. Wow, and it's got impressive walls here. Look at this. These are holding back that terrace just above us that have all of those trees on, and they've obviously been doing that for a very, very long time and very successfully. And then this is the back of the mill building. We've got another little window or doorway going into the bottom sort of cellar area. Let's see if we can get inside and show you around a bit. This is another little area. I believe this would be for animals and things like that. They usually have the animals at the bottom, and then the heat from the animals in winter would rise up and help to heat the house. And let's just stand up here for a sec. I don't think I've seen in here. No, I can't open up this one, but I can open up this one. So let's have a look in here. Right. How is this for a gorgeous little patio veranda space? And this just, or little balcony space, what shall I say? And this has the most incredible views. Look at that. You've got the waterfall, you've got the river, and then this extends across and down to the living areas on this side. And let's just have a look in here quickly. Look at all this old furniture. We've got an old mirror over there, chest of drawers, these tiny little chairs, and all this old antique furniture. Sure, amazing. And this over here is a little bedroom. To think that someone stayed here once upon a time. That is very, very cool. It even has the old bedpan. And let's just spin you around here and have a look through the window at the amazing views. Absolutely incredible. Yeah, man, this place is full of history, and it's quite fascinating. It's like a living museum that you can walk through. Wow. On the other side we have what looks like a kitchen and a living area. Let's go and peek inside. Wow, look at this. These are old, like original bottles from back in the day, and it's quite freaky being in here. This is an attic space, I believe. Let's see if I can pop the camera up here and show you what's going on. And yeah, look through the house here. Wow, we've got old furniture. Let's turn this way and have a look in here. We've got, I believe, the old kitchen area, so the fireplace. We have a little hook here where they could hang the pot or the cauldron, and you can see there's been lots of soot and smoke in here. And then we have like a cooker and some storage space, and obviously windows leading out. This is quite interesting. It's got one of these stable doors, so you can open up just the top or the bottom. And then if we look through here, we've got a bunch of old furniture. Look, this is another one of these old boxes. I think these were old salt boxes, so they would pack things in salt. And like a really old table. And wow, look at this, huh? This is quite something to see, all of this. I mean, this could be turned into an amazing space. Wow, that's a bat. Okay, I just had a bat fly into my head. This is that door that I couldn't open from the outside, so this is obviously like the front door of the property. And then if I spin us around here, this is kind of like the hallway. We had a little bat fly past there. Don't fly into me, batty. And let's go around to that part of the house. So obviously it's getting quite dark now. I've just turned on my mobile phone's torch so we can get a little bit more light. This is like a room full of bats. Okay, so yeah, I'm not going to walk into there. Sorry, bats. I think I have to go around this corner here. So if I go around this corner, we've got another one of these big salt boxes. And wow, this is so cool here. This is another big grindstone. So this will be the grindstone from the water wheel outside. Incredible. And then we've got the old funnel over here to funnel all of the grain or whatever it is into the wheels. And then just look at this. Look at this beautiful window here. It just looks out over this river into these stunning views. Whoa. This place is just packed full of history. Look at these old sort of gears and different tools and things, all made out of hardwoods. Absolutely magnificent. All these crafted things. Incredible. And there we've got some of the old millstones. So this is very, very immense. I mean, just look at how many houses you have here on this property, how much space you have on this property, how many different options you have with it. And that's not it, because, well, this is a little staircase going up, and this takes you into the attic that I showed you earlier. And there's also another house just on the side here. So let's just close this one up and say goodbye to that beautiful little porch area there with that view. And let's just climb down. Look on the side here, this is that little archway that goes from where the aqueduct is across. And we can see here we've got lots of little natural springs that are just popping up everywhere. So we've got one across here, coming all the way down here. On one of the other terraces up there, there's another natural spring. And this is actually something that's even got old cups there from where the locals left the old cups. This is water that goes right through the mountain, right through the granite, from very, very deep. So it's very clean and very pure. And this is where we believe lots of locals used to obviously drink straight out of the mountain. So just across from this house is another one. This one looks really good. The stones are in fantastic condition. Now, I've been told that, again, this one had animals living on the bottom, and then the people would live on the top floor. And I'm guessing this would be that bottom access there. And if we go around the corner, we'll have a doorway. There it is. That takes us to the top floor. Now, I think in more recent times, this was obviously used for animals, which is why we're seeing some hay and straw on the bottom there. But in the old days, this would have been a place that people actually stayed in. But I imagine a space like this, 2 floors, could make a really nice little guest cottage or something like that. And let's just give you another view of it from this side here. Really, really nice stonework. So we're at the edge of the property, the border of the property. I'm going to show a map on the screen and just show you exactly where we are in relation to the main house, in relation to all of the different mill houses, in relation to the river, and just so you can orientate yourself. And from this last little house that we were looking at, from up here, just look at the views. You've got the whole view of the waterfall there, and then obviously you've got a nice space between this house and this house over here. So if you do have little holiday lets and things, people do have their own privacy. And of course they have this wonderful little river beach area for kids to play in, to cool off, have picnics down here, all surrounded by magnificent central Portuguese nature. Now I'm saving what I believe is the best for last. Let's go down to that waterfall and have a closer look. Now we have a nice shallow section over here that you can easily wade across, but I'm wearing shoes today and I don't want to get those wet. So what we're going to do is head on down in this direction over here and use the footbridge to access this side of the property, the forest and the waterfall. So it's quite a strong, sturdy bridge, and we've got some little steps that take you up into the forest. And we can either go up through here, there's other little terraces, or what we're going to do now is we're going to jump down here onto this terrace and get to that waterfall. I just absolutely love having running water on a property like this. It was one of the things that Gina and I said was an absolute must-have when we bought our farm in Portugal, and unfortunately our farm doesn't have a flowing river. We do have what we call our farm dam, but I mean there is just something really special about having a large river just running straight through the property. That sound and the freshness of the air, and of course nothing beats the views that you get. Look at that, looking back at the houses here from just across. So we can access the river by going through to this side over here. Sorry, I mean access the waterfall. And to think that you could own your very own village in Portugal with a beautiful rock pool and waterfall just like this. A lovely private one that you can enjoy whenever you want. How absolutely incredible is that? Now this is the river that runs through the Praia Fluvial de Serra da Gardunha. So Serra da Gardunha, the village over here, has a river beach, or Praia Fluvial. This is the river that actually feeds that river beach. And the river beach is only a couple of 100 meters in that direction over there. So you're quite close. But when you have your own river running through. You've got your own river beach. It's your own private space and you don't have to share. It's pretty special. So we just come back from the waterfall, which is down there, and we're going to climb up a little bit and have a look around inside the forest on the other side of the valley. So there's lovely little trails and things to walk around. We've got all these little ferns popping up everywhere, lovely moss on all of the different rocks. We have little springs coming out of the rocks on the sides, leading into the stream here, and we have different paths and accesses that take you up into the valley here. Now I need to try and remember how I get up here. There's a couple of things that I want to show you this side. So this property actually has another stream. If we hike up a little bit here, we can see this over here is a whole different stream that runs through the mountain. We're going to get there in a moment. We're going to be able to see, look, it's running, it's got some cascades, it's running with quite a lot of force. It's a proper little stream, and I'm just going to hike up a little bit more. I think there's a better vantage point of that if we carry on up and into this forest. I mean, again, just imagine owning this piece of land. Imagine having all of these houses and terraces, your whole village just on this side over here, all of the rivers in the background, this whole new river that juts out here from the mountain. That is pretty priceless. Now I've been told that there are another 2 houses up in the forest here. I don't really know how I access those. I've been told that they're much bigger than the other ones that we've already looked at. So they're up here somewhere, and they're apparently 2 huge houses to restore. Oh, here we go. I think I can hear the waterfall. Oh yeah, look at that. So another river on the property, completely secluded, completely private, and just magical. This is what it's all about, man. Huh. And then we have some thick, dense forest ahead. So I visited this property yesterday. I did a full tour around with the owner to orientate myself so that I can give you all the information about this place. And this is as far as we got. But there is actually a lot more of the property. I'm seeing even in the background here, we have even more flat terraces, even more area to grow things, even more area for fruit trees and things like that. And it just carries on going and carries on going. Obviously this part of it is quite overgrown, but the main parts, the part where we started, where all the houses are, has been very well looked after. It's been very well manicured, and there's nice spacings between any forested areas and any buildings and things like that. And then you have this wild, untamed part, which is going to be full of animals and full of birds. I want to point out that I'm not an estate agent. I don't sell properties. I only make video tours just like this one for buyers or sellers. You can hire me to either view a property on your behalf if you can't visit Portugal in person, or you can hire me to create a video to show to my viewers to help you sell your property. So if you are interested in purchasing this property, have a look in the video description below. I'm going to put the seller's details. I'm going to put the price of the property in the video description below. Contact them directly, and who knows, this paradise could be yours.